Let's now settle for the details. 6 persons have been arrested for attacking a police officer at the Wono Kotoso checkpoint in the Kumewu district of the Ashanti region on Friday, 7th April 2023. Now, according to the Ghana Police Service, preliminary investigations have shown that the suspects, Edward Boateng, Evans Ado, Yao Kusi, Michael Owusu, Yao Boateng and Emmanuel Mensah, together with 2 others who are currently on the run, were returning from a hunting expedition in a taxi when the police officer stopped them at the checkpoint for a routine check. Now, the suspects, however, in an attempt to prevent the police officer from checking the contents of the vehicle on which they were traveling, pounced on him and violently assaulted him. The police, on receiving the distress call on the attack, immediately moved in and arrested 5 of the suspects, while 2 managed to escape. Now, the victim, the police officer, and another suspect sustained injuries in the scuffle and were rushed to the hospital, where they are receiving medical attention. And all 6 persons or suspects, according to the police, are in their custody. And we do know that this certainly is a developing story. We shall keep you updated in our subsequent bulletins as and when we do have them. But let's move on to some other stories. And the Opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, is calling on the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Akufo Dampare, to effect an immediate arrest of the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Ichampong, over some comments the NDC says threatens the peace and democracy of the country. Mr. Champong was heard during an address to party followers, vowing that his party will not allow the NDC come back to power. Reacting to the statement, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande, said the IGP must arrest the minister for questioning. He spoke to me earlier.
Looking forward is to see an awakened institution of the police. You will recall recently how they arrested our youth organizer in Swami, only because he made 10% of some of these remarks. The man who spoke to you is a minister of state, and if the IGP does nothing about it, we will take actions, and our actions will not be worse. We will carry out his threats and demonstrate to him that in this country, much as we love ourselves, we should not pride ourselves causing violence. And that if it is violence, Brian Ichampong comes nowhere close to the NDC. Our tolerance, our patience, our resolve is because we have sensible leaders. We have leaders who love Ghana. We have leaders who want to see this country live peacefully, not because we are scared.
Now, Mustafa Gbande also said the NDC will resist any attempt of intimidation by the NPP going into the 2024 elections.
What officials of government have started doing is just an indication of failure. And they have realized that the only alternative to stay on to power is to breed violence as they have done in the past. But I can assure them that we live in a country that has been very peaceful, a country where there are many people who have lived to see this country develop to this extent. We will not allow hooligans to take the country to hostage, and let not anyone underestimate the power of civil reaction, to the extent that if Ghanaians vote for the NDC and we have evidence that we have won an election, we can assure them that they will leave power and Ghana will live on.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has called on the chiefs and people of Kwewu in the eastern region to help protect the environment against all forms of pollution. The president said the country's forests and water bodies must be guarded in a way that will prevent them from becoming a source of disease outbreak for host communities. Commending the founder of the Abetifi Stone Cave, Mr. Ben Addo, for converting an entire refuse site into an eco-park to promote tourism, President Akufo-Addo said the economic impact of tourism cannot be overemphasized.
I'm not here today to celebrate the vision of one person who has transformed the hitherto refuse dump into a heritage site. It has been 9 years in the making, and I congratulate Mr. Bernardo for the brilliance of this initiative. I'm sure that in trying to execute this project, he faced a lot of challenges which would have forced him to give up. His not giving up is the reason why we're here today. The realization of this project teaches us two essential things. Firstly, the challenge of protecting our environment, our forests and water bodies. If this site was still a refuse dump, there would probably be issues of disease outbreak which would have affected the community. It is for this reason that I appeal to the Nanum and all Ghanaians to help protect the environment, including helping deal with issues of illegal dumping of refuse. Secondly, the need for us to support ecotourism. The economic impact of tourism cannot be overlooked or ignored. Over the years, some of our sister African countries like Kenya, Gambia, and South Africa have been able to leverage ecotourism to create employment and generate significant revenue for their respective countries. Abitifi Stone Age Park, a place whose history dates back to some 12,500 years ago, when duly supported, will attract tourists and history lovers into the country. For this reason, I would appeal to everyone, especially all the people of Kojo, to take this project as theirs. Do not see it to be a project for one person, but as a project for every one of us. And I want to assure the founder, the government for its part, and myself personally, will make the necessary contribution to make this project a reality.
Let's now do something on Resurrection Sunday. And the General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensa Otabil, has urged Christians to seek Christ from the right place in order to have a healthy and a lasting relationship with Him. In his Resurrection Sunday message to his Facebook followers on Word to Go, Dr. Otabil said if Christians look for Jesus Christ from the wrong place, they may risk missing Him and may not have the full appreciation of who He is to them.
Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Indeed and truly, the Son of God is risen from the dead, no more to die, but to return as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. For the disciples of Jesus Christ, the resurrection was a promise, a prophecy, but it was difficult to believe because it had never happened. They had seen Jesus die, or they had heard of it. They had seen all the signs of death. Buried. As far as they could tell, this is the end of the story. And the question is, they were looking for Jesus Christ in the wrong place. He is not here. And that's a very important question for us to consider. You know, most people acknowledge Jesus Christ to be something. Some think he's a good teacher, a good philosopher, a good man, a good philanthropist, positive things about him. But what kind of Jesus are you seeking for? Because if you're looking for him in the wrong place, you'll not find him. If you're looking for the wrong Jesus, you'll never find him. And that's what they were doing. They were looking for Jesus in the wrong place. In the tomb, he says, he's not here. If you're looking for him in philosophy, he's not here. If you're looking for him just with science, he's not here. There is a place to find him, and that is to find him in the words he spoke, as he has said. Today, as we contemplate the resurrection, it's also a moment for us to consider what we are looking for in Jesus Christ and where we are looking for him from. And if we are looking for him and we want to find him, then his words must become the basis of our discovery.
Still on Christ's resurrection, as many Christians commit the day to reflecting on the ultimate sacrifice by Jesus Christ on the cross of Calvary, the Archbishop of the Perez Chapel International, Archbishop Charles Ajenasari, has urged believers to reciprocate the love of Christ by promoting the gospel as their form of sacrifice to building God's kingdom.
So this month, let it be a month of sacrifice for you. The early church sacrificed. I mean, look, it wasn't pleasant to be a believer after Jesus died and resurrected, because they arrested him, they killed him, and when he rose, they even said, "You should shut up." His body was stolen. So it was, you were not allowed to talk about him. But Peter, in Acts chapter 3, he said, "You people killed him. God raised him." They arrested him. In our days, nobody is arresting us for preaching. Yet when was the last time you told somebody about Jesus? Nobody's arresting you. So in those days, if you said you were a believer, they arrested you. Yet these people would not shut up. They went from house to house. And they went publicly into the temple. You are here. Nobody's arresting you. Nobody's fighting you. Nobody's criticizing you. Yet, there is nobody, even your relatives, you are feeling shy to tell them about Jesus. You are not sacrificing your pride. Tell them about Jesus. Since you got saved, what have you sacrificed for the Lord? Ask the person sitting by you, what have you sacrificed for the Lord? Amen? Some of them sold their lands. Some of them sold houses. Some of them gave beyond their means. Sacrifice. This month, may it be your month of sacrifice. And not only may it be a month of sacrifice, may it be a month of the release of the power of God on your sacrifice. May God surprise you.
Elsewhere, General Overseer of the Royal House Chapel, Apostle Sam Kranchiankra, told his congregants not to restrict their celebration to that singular act by Christ. Rather, they should consider every other miracle or success they have experienced in their lives as a reminder of Christ's resurrection.
Every day, God makes sure that we experience resurrection in our lives. So the resurrection of Jesus Christ is a sure lesson and a sure evidence of what God intends to happen in everyone's life.
Enti Yesu wo sorry no eya dansidie trodo a kire se ampara ni awrade pese oye wo onipa biara abra mu no eno ane wo sorry na oye de biara da no.
When you got ill and the Lord healed you, it is an evidence of resurrection.
Eya repo na wa yare saba eno dia dansie trodo se ampara wo sorry bi esi.
The first exam that you wrote and didn't pass, and you went for the second time and passed and moved forward in your academic pursuit, is a sign of the evidence of resurrection.
Went to me anya ni ye anankunim dia mba na okosan ko chiro biom na rade din kunim dia ba no e kire pefe dia dance se ampara owu sorry bi e wo ho no.
This building in which we are worshiping, we began 12 years ago. And within spaces of this project, there have been many times that the project died.
And the climax of the redemption story for Christians is the resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ. Now, the proof of that is an empty grave which emboldens them in their faith in him. Till date, in modern-day Israel, the Garden Tomb attracts hundreds, if not thousands, of pilgrims to attest to the age-old biblical resurrection story. Now, as Christians mark Easter Sunday today, Joy News' MFA Atiamwa Eli got the rare privilege to enter the over 2,000-year-old tomb in Jerusalem and shares her experience with us.
The Garden Tomb, as is referred to in modern-day Jerusalem, perhaps is the most famous and thrilling landmark for pilgrims visiting Israel. A breathtaking feature grasping the attention of tourists as soon as one enters is the serene atmosphere and the freshness of the green garden. Tourists are sure to be lost in the warm, natural scenery and be less bothered about how managers diligently ensure the garden is well kept. The well-mapped out walkways, the sitting areas, and designated huts or spaces for pilgrims' fellowship are just breathtaking. A Garden Tomb manager, Andrew Haynes, shares some historical facts about the tomb.
So how do we know there was a garden here 2,000 years ago? That's a very important question. And the answer is because of this. This is a wine press that is 2,000 years old. You put all the grapes in and you jump up and down on them to get the juice out. But it tells us that there was a vineyard right here. Someone was growing grapes and making wine. So yes, there was a garden here at the time of Jesus. And at the edge of the garden, a rich man's tomb, a burial place cut out of solid rock. So maybe the owner of this garden and vineyard is Joseph of Arimathea. He's rich and important. And he is the man who goes to Pontius Pilate to ask for the body of Jesus. He said, I want to put it in my tomb. Now Pilate said, yes, if you really want to do that, take it away. And that's what Joseph did.
For most pilgrims, the tomb is the highlight of their pilgrimage. It is not just a moment to step in that biblical environment in real life, but to also walk into and out of the very spot the Messiah of the world is believed to have been laid when he died and later resurrected. Making it to that old age facility, seeing it, touching and making memory of themselves at the tomb is faith boosting.
It has lifted my faith and it has boosted my morale, which I believe from here, my preaching, everything will change.
It's memorable, very wonderful experience. Everything that happened here was really, in terms of spiritual growth, it has helped me.
I've seen the reality that Christ lives, and if Christ lives, he had lived before, he continues to live, and he's coming again.
What I've read in the Bible, what I've been taught in Sunday school, I've experienced it right in this pilgrimage, and my faith level is on another planet altogether.
Believers from all walks of life patiently queue a few meters away from the actual tomb to be guided in there, to have that lifetime experience. A small door-like opening leads visitors into the rocky tomb. For purposes of easy movement, the inner courts can accommodate maximum 8 people at a time. The floor to the right side of the tomb has 3 horizontal divisions originally meant for 3 bodies to lay. A metal railing separates the actual spot the body of Jesus is believed to have been laid from the rest of the spaces in the tomb, ostensibly in consecration of the place. Guess what you would have done in that space if you were in my shoe as a first-time visitor? I leave that to your imaginations. It appeared the feeling was same for all other pilgrims. Here are their accounts.
It was marvelous. When we were young, we thought, what I have seen now
from ancient times till this very day, and they have been preserved. So at least there is something we have evidence to show that this really happened. You know, even the names of the places, Jericho, Jerusalem. So by all means, there are places where Jesus was. They would for history's sake, they would definitely preserve it.
Well, I left the garden tomb feeling so accomplished and settled in my spirit. As long as my faith in God is concerned, there surely isn't any other argument, I said to myself. He is risen. I encourage you to try it if you can. You certainly won't be the same. Shalom and peace to you from the garden tomb in Jerusalem, the Holy Land. My name is Amafa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for Joy News.
A reminder, you're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Pious Kojo Backah. There'll be business after this break. Welcome back. This is the business segment of the news. The Ghana Stock Exchange has recorded a positive growth for the month of March at more than 10% as compared to the previous month. Now, the strong gains in some share price saw the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index increased by 14% in March compared to the month of February. There's more for you in this report. According to the March 2023 market report, the continued rally of the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index was underpinned by dividend announcements from some listed companies and investors seeking to diversify their holdings. Volumes and values traded were up significantly by 2,730% and 588% respectively over the previous month, mostly due to the block trades in MTN Ghana shares. Total Energies recorded 39.82%, MTN Ghana with 35.87%, Unilever with 33.78%, and Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited recorded 9.49%. On the other hand, the Ghana Stock Exchange fixed income market closed March 2023 with a volume traded at 5.57 billion, a decline of 39.26% and 80.18% respectively over the previous months and same period in 2022 numbers. Yields on short-term government securities came down significantly during the month. The 91-day Treasury bill ended the month at 19.39% from 35.55% at the beginning of March 2023. The new government of Ghana bonds witnessed thin trading during its first full month post-domestic debt exchange program. And that's it for Joy News Prime for today. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Always a pleasure serving you. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. You can always get stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Do enjoy your Easter break.